Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Kofi. Yes, on campus most of you guys call me Manuel. So previously we worked on a project that it was about HTML. Working on a company profile using HTML and CSS. But what we did was basically using what we call the inline CSS. We have external CSS, we have inline CSS. I ask that you go and find the other one. There are three. I've already given you two. If you know about the last one, you type it in the comment section. Today we are going to focus on the same project, but this time using what we call the external CSS instead of inline what? CSS. So please, before we get started, make sure that you subscribe to this very channel. This is what happens. If you subscribe to my channel, it means that subsequently, anytime I upload a video of its nature, you will be the first person to be notified. And for you to be aware, I am going to create more videos on HTML and CSS. I will be your guide through this WebTech course. And at the end of the day, you will become a proficient HTML and CSS programmer. This course will be for anyone who wants to major on front-end development. So please stay to this very channel, and like I said, subscribe for subsequent videos. Without much ado, let's get started. Now we are in the project. Let's continue with the project. I've already opened my VS Code. That is what I will be using for the sake of this tutorial. So I'll go on and create the first index, then I will save it index.html. Please make sure that you don't save it in the wrong directory. So I'll go back here and make sure that it is inside the project too. Alright, so my index.html is now what? Ready. I already know how I can only get the boilerplate by doing this, so I already have the boilerplate, and I will save it to project. Okay, alright. So here inside the project, what you would have to do is to give a comment of breadcrumb. This is how to give a comment in HTML. I am sure you guys know. If you don't know, to this how a comment is given. So breadcrumb. Okay, breadcrumb is more like giving a way a navigation has to be like. Okay, more like making it easy to know that okay, from here you go to here, from here you go to here on the side. That is more like the breadcrumb. So we already did it in the other one. So we say breadcrumb class. Anytime you give a class, you give it an ID. Okay, so the class we will say so this one we are going to give the div more often. Okay, so the div is simply a tag that means division. Okay, we use it in HTML to group things. We use the div in HTML to group what? Things or items or whatsoever. Okay, so think of it like a container or a box that holds other elements. Okay, so inside the div we may have different elements like text, links, images, and etc. Okay, that's what the div means. And why, or someone may ask why you supposed to use div. Okay, so the div using helps organize our content what? Clearly. So this one we would have three sections where three images, news, blah blah blah, everything would have to be. So it is best we use the div in order to what? Make sure that we've divided it nicely. Are you getting it? It also makes it easy to apply CSS or what we call the style. Please, are we getting it? So div is very very important. Okay, div is very important. Then inside the div you could see that I gave it a class. Someone may ask, what is even a class? Okay, so the class is just a name you give to an element, usually a division or a div or other tag, so that CSS can style it. Are we getting it? So you have given the division a name, a specific ID, like an identity, so that if you are to style that specific item or element in your CSS, you can call on the ID or the name, the class name, then it will style only that one. I'll give an example. Okay, so assuming I write Kofi in here, I'll give an example. Like, let's say inside the body I would say H1 where there is Kofi Ima. another H1 here, H1 here, where there is John. Let's create CSS. So this is how we create CSS. Control N, or yes, Control N will bring you to untitled. Control S will bring you to this place. Then you save it as style.css. You always save it as style.css. You can choose to always have a different name for this, but it has to always end with a .css what extension. All right. So after saving it, we have it here. Let's assume that H1, I have targeted H1, then I say color is to red, then font size is to 25 pixels. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's go into our other side, use the go live to open it in our browser. Good. So when we open it in our browser, you could see that we have John here and Kofi here. Okay, I think there was a mistake. Let's check something in here. Inside the HTML, H1, H1. Let's close this in the meantime. Then go back to C. You could see that both are affected. Okay. Let's change the color is red already. So what could be the issue? Okay, so this is the issue. I've not styled, or I've not added the CSS inside the HTML, so it's not fetching anything that we are doing. So here I'll go down, then within the head, that is where we put the CSS code, where the CSS HTML connect or fetch data from the CSS. So we'll say link real, okay, style sheet, then you say ref. The name of the style sheet is style.what.css. So assuming this style sheet was in a folder, it would have been the folder name, maybe CSS folder and / the style.css, or maybe if it was inside the image folder, it would have been ing /. But because it is inside the directory, you only write the name, and this, the very first one, is how it is renamed, the CSS. All right, then you close it. Okay, so now let's refresh and see from this. You could see that they are all showing red. Let me change the font size inside here to something like 85, so that it will look very big. All right, so you could see that it's very big here, right? Very big. Why is it that Kofi and John is all being styled? Both are being styled because these are all having the H1 element, and I have set it to H1. I am targeting H1, so everything inside H1 or has H1 tag within the HTML document is going to be affected. So if I want Kofi only to be affected, how do I do it? I only come to the H1, hit on enter to open up, add an attribute, and this time I'll add the class what attribute. Inside the class, I will give it an identity, a unique name, and I will say maybe main. Okay, so now I've given it a class of what? Main. Still, it is showing because I haven't styled, or I haven't initiated any code here. So now this is how we write it in CSS. So this time, let's see. I am going to say dot. Anytime you give a class name inside CSS, you don't rather write it just like I targeted this one here directly. You write a dot because of the class, the identity. Dot, then you add the name. So I will just copy this, come here and paste it. Then I will open my curly bracket, then I will say color is to blue. Let's see what happens. You could see that the color has override on the very first red. Okay, and you could also see or notice that John is still not changed to blue, even though they are all H1s. Why is it that? Because I have asked or told the CSS that I am targeting only on the H1 with the unique identity main. This is what it means. So you could see that now that I have removed the other one, this one would turn, the John would turn to black, and Kofi will still remain that Kofi Ima. It goes down because I have removed the H1 and the color, the font size is gone. I can still add the font size here. Then I'll give it like 60 pixels, and it's gonna what show big. That's how it is. So That is the uniqueness of adding a class to your element. All right. So I think you guys have understood how the class works. All right. So let's go back to the code. So the div class, I am going to then give it a class. The class is going to be, we've already written the breadcrumb. Nope. Okay, inside the breadcrumb. So I'm going to give it a div class of what? Breadcrumb, which means when we go back to our code, it should be breadcrumb that we would write inside the CSS, because I've already given you an example of how it works, right? Okay. Then down here, I am going to say company, like we did the last time. Profile, okay, manager, then all that stuff. Please learn how to type, because you cannot be typing too slow. It doesn't go with coding, please. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Sorry, I've already written the div. That's why it keeps giving me the body. Okay, I'll copy this, come back here, then write the div in here. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so the body, I can give it a tap. Boom, it moves in here. Looks better. Then I'll give one space so that the code will look quite cleaner for you. Then here too, I'm going to give it another comment. Here will be what? Banner image. So banner image is the longer image that we saw over there. IM image. All right. So inside the banner image too, we are going to have a div class. Okay. I'll give it a div class of what? Banner. So we are setting divisions. That's what we've already started. So inside the div, I'll have an image with a src of what? img forward slash. Should I use an n? nn.jpg. Let's see if nn is the right image that I want to use. Okay. Yes. Now you could see it's very big on the page. It has taken the entire page. I could scroll it entirely down. Don't worry. When we start working on the CSS, we are going to set width and height for it. Okay, so it's gonna look better back again. All right. So after this, we go in and write the alternative text. Alt. So should in case the image doesn't load, the alternative text will show up that it is the main what? Banner. Main, the banner. The hand is faster than the mind is faster than the hand, or the hand is faster than the mind. Okay. Right. So now that I already have my image in there, I'll move here, then come down. I'll give one space, then I'll write another comment here that news section. All right. So at the news section too, inside the news section, I'll give a div class. You already know what div class means, so I don't need to keep explaining. So I'll say the news section. All right. I'll close it. Then down here, I am going to give it another I'll say news what? Box. This one, it will be box 1, because we are going to have 3 different what? Boxes. Please, I hope you are with me. We are going to have 2 different boxes, so that should be the first one. All right. So here, I would have a div class, which will be the very first box. I'll say news box. I'll close it. Then down there inside the box, I would give it an H2 head, which is the second head, and I hope you all know, right? We all know that H2, we have 6 headings, H1 to H6. H2 is the least second heading. The H6 is the smallest or most smallest heading. Then I'll give an IMG SRC. and this one is going to be ./img, and I will set it to bbc.jpg. All right, we've done this already. That's why I'm quite moving fast. Always don't forget to set your alternative file, then say bbc image or bbc news. All right, news image. Let me do it that way. I can't set it any other way, just for the sake of this tutorial. Then I'll come up and create a paragraph here. Then with a paragraph, I'll use lorem like I did earlier on. You know how to do it already. You save it. If you don't know how to do the lorem, you type lorem just like this. You type the first one lorem, you hit enter. Yes, that is in VS Code, please. If you're not using VS Code, it's not gonna work for you. So that's it. I would delete part of it. Alright, so we already have our paragraph BBC. Then inside the paragraph I'll write a span. Then span, I will give it a class, and the class will be read more, like we already have it in it. Read more. Right. Okay, so we have a class, a span of read more. So the span, to you guys may want to know what the span does, and span is just an inline tag, okay, in HTML. We use it to style a small part of text. Okay, so you could see that the readme is just a small part of the text. Okay, so we target a word or sentence without breaking the layout, then we use the span. Okay, so imagine maybe you want to make just one word inside a paragraph, like blue and underlined or green and underlined. You can't style the whole paragraph, just that one word. Okay, that's when you use the span. Okay, so that's why you could see that the span is only to the readme. I hope you get it. All right, so let's continue, please. So now that we are here, we've already done with this. We have the paragraph done. Okay, so let's continue. So now that we already have the readme, the paragraph, everything, this is what we are going to do. So boom, we are going to make sure that we have three sections duplicated. Okay, so this very section, we are going to duplicate it. I'll only copy the code, come here, give it a space. I'll only drop the code here, drop the code here. Then I will go to the browser to see what we have so far. Let's move down. So 1, 2, 3. I have 3. Okay, they're all BBC, so you only change the names and make sure that they are set to how it's supposed to be. I hope that's clear. All right, so I'm coming. I want to indent the code so that it will look more good. Okay, so from the news section, we have the div. We closed it. No, we need to rather close it from here. Okay, we have the div news section. Okay, this was supposed to be like this. The image was supposed to be like this, and this was supposed to be same like this, and even this goes down inside like this. Please, are we getting it? That is what we call indenting. Like they are all under each other. Then the P was is supposed to come this way. Then the span, the P, the span rather, down the P like this. This looks what? Good. Alright, so this one has to come here. Okay, so I will just copy this and then keep replacing it with the other ones. So this is how it's supposed to look like. Very nice and well styled. So I'll push it back so that you see how it is. So this is how it's supposed to be like nicely. Alright, so let's move to our CSS. Okay, so inside the CSS, that's where all the magic what happens. So inside the CSS, I am going to give all these in. Alright, so I would first of all create a comment. This is how comment is written in CSS. A general page styles. Okay, so this is how comment is written. Then I will say body, background, dash color is to white, font family. I'll send the font family to what, Arial or what, sans serif. So the font Arial comes first. If you don't have it, it will show sans serif. The margin to 0, margin to 0. All right, we move from there. Then we come to the breadcrumb. I've already explained why it's dot. Okay, so I'm not going back again. If you didn't, you can just scroll back, then watch why breadcrumb. You can also watch the very previous video to understand this center. So learn to type. Okay, every color has its code, so you have to start learning the color codes. I will teach you some of the color codes in our previous videos too. All right, so let me quickly take you through some petty stuff here. So CSS, we have what we call a selector. Okay, so a selector is what we write in CSS to target which HTML element we want to style. So this one becomes the what, selector. Okay, so we have maybe the body.news, image, blah blah blah. They are all what, selectors. Okay, so that selector target a specific element inside the HTML. We know body is an element in HTML and other stuff. So the selector being the first one, this one's target something, what we want to style. Okay, good. Then we have what you call attribute. So this is the attribute. Okay, so the attribute is what we see, property, blah blah blah. So in CSS, a star rule is written like this. Okay, this. So we have the very first one, which is like the attribute or the property. Let's use property. I think that. So what property do you want to, after you have selected the element, what property in the element do you want to target or work on? I said the text align. How the text is aligned. What is the value? The value is what? Center the text. Please, are we getting it? So every HTML that we target, we come with the curly brackets opened. Then inside the curly bracket, we have the target, the property and the what? The value. So the property, what property? The font size. What value? 32. The color. What is the color value? Black. The padding, that is the space outside. What is the padding size? 20 pixels. Okay, so it is assumed that every box has like 4 sides. So assuming that you want to style all the four sides and give it padding, it should be 1 2 and another 2, like maybe say 0 then 0. But we are using only two sides, that is why we have the 20% 0. So one is for up, one is for down. Okay, this is how we getting it. That's how it is. So let's continue. Once you now understand, we have the selector, we have the property, the value. So anything that I write, I'll have the selector, then the property, and also have the value. All right. So now quickly, we got to the breadcrumb. Okay, so the breadcrumb, we have the text align. It aligns the text in the middle. We have the font size. It either make it bigger or smaller. We have the color that I have already set it to black. The padding adds space above and below the what breadcrumb, like I said earlier on. Then we will move directly to the banner style. Okay, so I will say dot banner. I'll say dot banner because inside the banner I used a class of what dot banner. I don't know if you have forgotten. I will only show you. This is it. Good. So I'll say dot banner, and the dot banner, I'll open my curly brackets. Sorry. I'll open my curly bracket. Then inside, I'll give it a width. We already know width 1250, like we did in the previous video. Then I would also give it a height. No, I'm not giving it height now. So whatever, let me give you the margin rather. 0. Let's set it to auto. Then the banner image rather, so it's dot banner img. Then that one, I would say the width is also the same as the 1250 pixels. Then I would set a height here, give it 330 pixel. Then let's give it an object fit. Okay, so object dash fit, make sure that the image doesn't stretch to a place that is not supposed to. Then we will display it in the what, in the block. All right, I've already told you what the fit that, right? The margin set auto centers the banner in the middle. All right, so let's go to the new section. So the new section will say dot news section. Please, you only have to write exactly what was written as the class. Okay, so the new section is that you can only even copy it for typos and other things not to. Okay, so you can just copy it, come here, you paste it, you're free. All right, so new section will display flex, justify content, center the content, sorry, flex, center. Then let's give it a gap of 20 pixels, the gap in between the pattern of 20 pixels. Always come with the pixels because in web we use pixels. Okay, so the display flex arranges the box in a row. I've already explained to you what boxes in row means. They are all on the same row. One is next to it at the right, or at the left, and in columns beneath it. Rows are horizontally, okay, and the column is vertically. So the gap also adds space between them, from first box or first picture to the second picture to the third. That is the gap. Okay, then the flex wrap to makes it responsive. Okay, moves to the next line on small screen. So assuming that maybe we are showing this very thing on a smaller screen, immediately that you resize it, then it keeps, you see that it keeps moving. Okay, together with what we call the this very one, there is a code in between the head, the meter viewport. Okay, That's what makes your page responsive. All right, so let's continue with from where we ended. All right, so now let's move to the individual box styling. Okay, so dot news dash box. All right, I'll give it a width of 400 pixels. Margin at the button, I would say just 10 pixels. Then news dash box, this time the H2, that's the title there. I would say fonts, that size should be like 24 pixels. Then I'll give it a margin bottom of what, 10 pixels. Let's go to the dot news dash box img. That one too, I'll give it a width of 100%, 300 height, 300 pixels. Object fit, you already understand object fit. That one I would say cover, right, so that the picture wouldn't move out. Okay, display it in block, come down, then dot news dash box paragraph, it styles the paragraph of the news box. Font size, we'll set it to 18 pixels. Line height, okay, the height of the line 1.5. Then the read more, set the color to what, blue. Text decoration, say underline. So text decoration is underline, it means it underlines the text. You can, if it was already underlined, you could have chosen none and it would remove the underline. So we want it to be underlined just like it shows in the project. Cursor is anytime we put a cursor on any of this, it has to turn to pointer. So let's see. So this is it. You see, anytime I put the pointer on it, let's remove it and see. Let's remove this and refresh it and see. When I put it on, it's still the normal cursor. Okay, this one turns to pointer, this normal cursor by default. So I would have to set it to cursor to what, pointer. Okay, right. There are other ones, but we'll use pointer for the sake of this very tutorial. So these are the codes. These are the codes. Keep practicing. You could change some of the things inside, then you refresh to see how your work looks like. And this is just like the one that we did what earlier. Okay, but this time, okay, so you could see there is something here. We need to go quickly into our HTML code and check it is coming from here. We only have to clear it, then it will be gone. Boom. All right, so this is the work here. You go through the HTML, follow step by step. Okay, follow step by step. So let me quickly show you this. All right, so here, right, so you see this very site, This was designed using HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript. Everything here, it is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you could say that I have the head nicely styled. We have some changing text here, and when you hover on this, it thinks we have this footer section, and even this, when you hover the mouse on it, and even we have an icon here that you toggle, then it automatically changes it to dark mode. And if your computer is by default set to dark mode, or your phone is by default set to dark mode, you open it and it opens in what? Dark mode. This is the URL to which you can also check it yourself. It's manualcode.info. Please do well to practice continuously, because this is how programming is. You do it today, you stop tomorrow, you sleep back, you come the next day. Trust me, you will never get to know how to program. And I've told you earlier on that HTML is the building structure, okay? That is the skeleton of all web pages that exist on the internet. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until we meet again, bye.